the faithful mile getting more faithful as we get closer to kickoff between the 49ers and the New England Patriots. We are back here on the faithful mile. Dave Feldman, my buddy Dennis Brown, and joined by Dennis's old teammate, the Pro Bowl, the left tackle, Steve Wallace. Steve, good to see you, man.
Thank you, guys. Thank you for having me on. I'm totally excited, doing well. Back in Atlanta, just totally enjoying life and played hard, and now I enjoy life to the fullest.
Before we get going on you and Dennis and that whole career, just some thoughts. Kelly Johnson just had a nice piece on Eddie DeBartolo. I know you were at the thing last night honoring him. What's your memories of your former owner?
Just great memories. I can recall one memory is that I broke my leg in one Super Bowl, and him and I were sitting in the locker room as the game was going on. The last few seconds, Joe Montana hit John Taylor, and he was kicking me on the leg and beating me up. I'm like, Mr. D, you know I broke my leg. But, you know, he's one of the greatest owners of all time.
That's right. You had to watch that in the locker room.
Absolutely.
I think Bubba Paris came in, right?
Came in, yeah.
To replace you.
Bubba came in with a pair of turf shoes, and he had to go. He had to go through a whole series of plays, and then after the first series and first couple of first downs that we got, then he was able to change to grass shoes.
Dennis, you have a good Eddie D story or a good memory from your former owner?
There's tons of Eddie D stories. I mean, the way he treated us, he broke down the bridges as far as players and ownership, and he made it easy for us to play. He gave us the top stuff. We were at a high level as far as our facilities, the way we traveled, the way we did everything, but he expected us to win. And that was important to him, and we went out and we played for Mr. DeBartolo because we knew that if we played well, we would get good things in the end. And he did so many different things for this. I mean, just small things. I remember the Christmas parties, you know, and Eddie DeBartolo talked about knowing players' names and wives' names and children's names. To this day, he knows my first, last name, my former wife's name, and my children's name every time I talk to him. It's amazing, but that is the level that Mr. DeBartolo was. He was above everybody else. He set the standards for all the other owners of the National Football League, and that's the man that he was.
Steve, you won 3 Super Bowls.
Yes.
You got Dennis beat. He's only got 1.
Absolutely.
I know you know that. You guys played together for a long time. The memory of you breaking your leg, you came out with Eddie D. That's one memory. What's one of your best memories of all the 3 Super Bowls you won?
One was going against San Diego Chargers. And if you can imagine watching ESPN the night before the game, and then Phil Simms comes on and goes, I think you guys are going to lose the game. The 49ers are going to lose because of the left tackle. He's going to face Leslie O'Neal, the 6-time Pro Bowler, and they're going to go down. And so I started to immediately.
Wait, are you watching that live?
And so all my teammates started to call me. My mom started to call me and say, hey, you're going to lose the game because Phil Simms, you know, the analyst said that. And that day I had my best game. I shut him down, third quarter. I go back, I look at ESPN, and Phil Simms and those guys are on again. And then, you know, Steve Young obviously was most of those guys MVP. Chris Berman, the boomer, at the end said that Steve Wallace, the guy you guys called out, shut out Leslie O'Neal, didn't have a tackle. His name is not even on the stat sheet. So, yeah.
I'll tell you the guy who didn't want that report out, probably Leslie O'Neal, right? Because he's like, don't get Steve Wallace angry.
Get him fired up.
What were you going to say, Dennis?
I just want to talk to you very quickly. We were at practice on Saturday, and I saw you talking to Trent Brown.
Yes.
Now, he's been one of the bright spots of this season, and I watched this kid, you know, last season, he sat on the bench, he learned, and he came in this season, and he's been playing really well. And a lot of people aren't talking about it. Just what did you guys talk about, and what do you think about him and his development right now?
We talked about a way of excelling. I mean, and like I told him, I said, it's all about conditioning, the amount of time you put in extra off the field. If you do the same things that everyone else does on the field, it depends on your talent. You're only going to be as talented as everyone else. You got to go in. Dion and Jerry Rice, those guys, after they left the field, they immediately went right to the treadmill. They ran and they did other things. Harris Barton and myself, we went home, we studied films on Monday. By the time we came back in on Wednesday, we knew by different coverages, different alignments. We looked for a guy's hands. And those were the things I talked to him about, the little things. And I told him, you'll love this game. It has a lot of qualities to give you. Hell, you might get a couple girlfriends. You might get a lot of wonderful things.
Yeah.
Steve, when you see this team struggling, they're 1-8.
Yeah.
You live in Atlanta. You grew up
Right.
in Atlanta. But I know you still follow this team. Are you like Dennis? To every loss, does it eat you up? Does it hurt you? Do you still feel really connected?
It absolutely kills me. I mean, because everyone back in Atlanta knows that I'm a true diehard, obviously, without a doubt. And every time I see, win goes down, it just hurts my heart. Because, we had come so far in the last few years. And then let's get it back. We need for these guys to understand we have a certain set of standards here, and for our guys to, have that promise that these fans are truly deserving. They know what winning is all about, and we need to get back to that level.
We talk to Dennis about this every week because it's hard when you're losing and the team's losing. You probably didn't have too many losing seasons. When you're losing, people blame people.
Right. Yeah,
they point at people.
Right.
It can tear up a locker room, Steve, right?
Well, just like we were telling our Balka yesterday, I mean, hey, nobody said it was going to be easy, and like you said, losing, I don't know what that is. I've never in my life had a losing season, all the way back from high school, Auburn University with Bo Jackson, 12 years in the NFL. My worst year is 10-7. I'm 10-6. And so, like you said, but like we talked about him, is the standards, to have that, to anticipate winning, to put that pressure on the guys, because that's what we want, and that's what only thing we're going to accept.
And what would you tell the team right now at 1-8? I mean, I remember you were one of the leaders of the football team when I was here. What would you tell the team right now? They always ask me, 1-8, what would you do? I say the leadership has to step up and say something. And I always looked at, what would you say to a team if we were in that locker room now 1-8?
And my leadership abilities came from a guy like Ronnie Lott. And it's just that every single play counts. When you go out on that field, and like I was talking to Trent Brown earlier about the conditioning, every single play you must play to the best of your ability. And if you can do that, then this team has an opportunity to win.
You played with Bo Jackson, right?
Right.
In college. And be honest, better athlete, Bo Jackson or Dennis Brown?
That's
Pure
a tough one
athlete.
now.
It's close.
You
It's
said
close.
be honest, right?
Right.
I mean, this guy was the biggest finesse guy I've ever seen at about 300 pounds, could maneuver, because most guys want to punch him and hit him hard. You anticipate that. But Dennis, I think Bo could
You think?
outrun you for sure. A 4.13, what do you think? At
Yeah, I think he probably could outrun him.
But Steve, I got a new knee.
Yeah.
All right.
With his new knee, he is still not as fast as Bo Jackson.
Right.
Steve, thanks for coming on,
Thank
man.
you,
Great,
guys.
great to see you.
Let's get this thing going, and go Niners out
That's
there.
right.
Let's
All right.
go. Go Niners!
The Pro Bowler, Steve Wallace, 3 Super Bowl championship rings. We'll take a break. We'll come back. We'll talk a little food. We'll visit with Matt Mayoko. We'll do it all as we get ready for the Patriots and the 49ers. It's 49ers Pregame Live, presented by Toyota.